Oh, good morning and welcome to another edition of Vic's V8 videos. Today, we're not going to be talking about flathead V8s, but we are going to talk about flathead V12s, in particular the HV-12s, which were the engines built for the Lincoln Zephyr and the Lincoln Zephyr Continental, and then Continentals and Lincolns from 36 to 1948. So 1936 through 1948. And a lot of stuff that I see on social media, people are always out there poo-pooing these V12s, saying that they're underpowered and they were fraught with all kinds of problems. And in actuality, nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, I don't think that Ford would have built them for that many years if those accusations were true. So let's get started. First here, we'll take a look at my 39 Lincoln Zephyr Convertible Club Coupe. And this is actually a 41 block. In 36, when they started these V12s, there were 267 cubic inches, 110 horsepower, but they delivered 186 foot-pounds of torque at 3,000 RPM. These cars were heavy cars. They also had tall rear ends. The rear end ratio in my 39 is 444 to 1. Now, these engines were not built for the purpose of racing them in hot rods. They were built to be smooth running engines that delivered enough power to move these heavy automobiles and cruise in them. And they did that quite well. Now, if you'll take a quick look at my 39, you'll see that the air cleaner on the carburetor is obviously not a stock air cleaner. But back in the day, Lincoln, let me see if I can get a shot of the intake manifold. This tube coming out, and with my little adaptation to go into this carburetor, because I have not been able to locate a carburetor or an air cleaner for this particular model. So what that does, that was Ford's early attempt at PCV valve, because there is no other relief on these motors. They also, you'll see, they came factory equipped with oil filters, which the V8s did not. So now let me give you a little bit more information about this particular engine, okay? It was 110 horsepower at 3,900 RPMs. With the torque, as I mentioned, is 186 pound-feet of torque at 3,000 RPMs. The curb weight of this car is approximately 3,520 pounds. Now, they were all the Lincoln Zephyrs and the Continentals from 1936 through 1948 were built on a 125-inch wheelbase. And this particular car, the 39 Convertible Club Coupe, there were a total of 638 of them built. Now, let's take a walk over here and check out the 40. Now, my 40 has been treated to some speed equipment, so it is not bone stock. But in 40, they upped the cubic inch from 267 to 292 cubic inches. And they did that to increase the horsepower from 110 to 120. And basically, that was to help these things move the weight. Now, this 40 Lincoln Zephyr Continental Cabriolet weighs in at 3,890 pounds, which is 180 pounds over what the Zephyr convertibles were. So, again, these cars were designed to move smoothly, run smoothly, provide power to move the vehicles and to cruise in them. Again, They were not built like a flathead V8, which was a very popular hot rodding motor. So, again, this one came, all the Lincoln Zephyrs came factory equipped with oil filters, which again, the Fords did not. The V8s did not have a factory installed oil filter as standard equipment until, I believe, 1946. So you can see in here that this, as I said, this one's been treated to some goodies. It's got a deuce intake manifold with 2 Lincoln Zephyr carburetors on it. It's got Austin aluminum heads, and it's got a cam in it. The cam was in it when I bought the car. So I have no idea what the cam is. All I can tell you is that it has a nice lope to it, but it's not very aggressive, which is just the way I wanted it for this particular car. And you can see the oil fill tube with that hose coming off of it. That's what they did to change the intake manifold tube to that. So that becomes a road draft tube, or as we refer to them, the blow-by tube. So this is, again, a 292 cubic inch, and in 42, they upped the cubic inch to 306 inches. However, with the war coming on, they stopped production, and then in 46, they came back again with the 306, but realized in short order that the cylinder walls were too thin to deal with the 306. So they went back to the 292, and that was the cubic inch they used. They did some internal changes on the engines to up the horsepower even more. But again, the horsepower is only one aspect of it. What makes the difference is the torque. And in the 40, the torque is, what was it? Let's see. 433 to 1. And the 39, as I mentioned, is 444 to 1. So you can understand these things are not going to smoke the tires at a stoplight, but you don't want to do that with these anyway. So, like I said, a lot of the information that I've read, I believe it comes from people that have secondhand knowledge at best. I don't believe any of them have had any extensive time spent with the HV-12 or the cars that they came in. Now, I've owned the Lincoln Zephyr, the 39 coupe, convertible coupe, for 25 years. The Lincoln Continental over here, the Lincoln Zephyr Continental 1940, is a newer addition to my collection of cars, and I've had it now going on almost 5 years, and there are distinct differences between the two cars. Even though they're both on the same wheelbase, they both have the same engine in them in terms of displacement, because, as I said, the 39's got a 41 block in it. So there are significant differences, as I said, and we can get into that in another video. One of these days, if I have somebody to give me a hand, we'll take a ride in each one of those cars so you can experience that. But if you are interested in Lincoln HV-12s and you want to get real information, I would recommend that you speak to someone who has actual experience over a fairly long time with these cars, and they can dispel all of the myths. So, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe, and if you'd like to leave a comment, please do so as well. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.